This Lil Baby album right here has a whole bunch of crazy beats. It came out in the last few months, and if you haven't heard it, I would highly recommend you go listen to it. Today I want to make something inspired by that album and this song specifically right here with Future. So let's jump straight into it. All right, so we're going to be starting off in this ethereal bank. If you're wondering if I Googled how to say that, I definitely did. This preset right here, Eternity, sounds really, really good. So this might be one that you would like to use for these type of dark melodies. So we're at 142 for the BPM. We're in A sharp minor. You want to focus on using notes that are very close together, like these two notes right here. But even starting on this A sharp and then moving to these two tension notes right here is going to be a lot better than maybe starting somewhere down here. When you have the tension notes close to like a root note that you choose, it just works a lot better. Maybe we could have that repeat. Let's go ahead and duplicate this over. Let's go like 8 bars for this. When I'm creating these types of things, I'm thinking of that halftime or that effects processing that I'm going to use later. So I really keep that in mind, because a lot of the times if you add a whole bunch of notes, they kind of get lost in it. So let's take this A sharp, bring it up 1 octave here, and we'll actually bring the C up an octave as well. And that's just going to add a little bit of variation to it. Maybe we could just go up 1 octave for this. So we'll go over here and hold Control up arrow. This is the next sound we're going to use right here. And I just want to add in a couple like plucked notes, which is really going to sound good later on with the effects. So let's go ahead and drop one in right here. Then we'll skip over 2 spaces and then 2 spaces again. And then we'll take this over to the next bar and we will drop it down an octave, because the other one goes up an octave. This one will drop it down just to give a little bit of variation. That's what this sounds like. So it's just kind of like a smooth little pluck that's just adding a little bit to it. Now we could just tuck this in the back just a tiny bit. Then we move on to one of my favorite sounds in the bank, which is this forest flutes. I would say, honestly, these 3 are probably my go-tos when I'm using this bank. And the reason that I like this sound is it's kind of like a one shot that does a lot, and I'm just going to layer it. So we could actually go ahead and start on A right here. We'll have it play out for a bar. Let me show you what it sounds like. So it's not something I would necessarily use for like a crazy lead, because there's a lot going to it, but as an accent, it sounds really good, especially when we drop it down over here. And watch, let's go ahead and hear it now. That part's going crazy. So you could already see it starting to come together, right? All right, so I know it's super simple, but that's all I'm gonna do for the melody, because now we're gonna add in the processing and the effects, which is really what's gonna make this what it's supposed to be, because right now it doesn't really sound too cool. So let's go in here, and the first thing I'm actually gonna do is hit Alt-Y on all of these, and I'm gonna flip them. The reason I'm gonna flip them is because I'm actually gonna export this and then reverse it, pitch it up, and then add the processing to it. So let's go ahead, Alt-Y to all of these. Then we'll go over here, Control A, and we'll go Control Alt and C. And we can go in here, normalize, reverse. We'll turn this on stretch, and let's go up 2 semitones and then turn this down just a little bit. And now let's hear it. Could already hear that like Future Lil Baby vibe to it. Now we need to add the effects to it, and we're going to use Shaperbox 3. You've seen me use Shaperbox 2 in the past on a couple different videos. They sponsored today's video, so shout out to them. And they dropped Shaperbox 3, which is newer. The first thing you'll probably notice if you've used Shaperbox 2 before is in 3, there's actually a new shaper right here called Liquid. One of the other great things that they added was the sidechain that I'm going to explain later, which is really cool, because now you can actually use an external sidechain input. So I can have like a kick going, and I can actually control all of these different LFOs that are here. So I could either have it for the volume, or I can put like a drive, right? And every time the kick hits, it will actually trigger this drive. So you'll see it right here in audio, but I'll show you how to set that up in a second. We're not going to be specifically using that for today's video, but it is really cool because you can trigger all of these ones by either a snare or a kick or whatever that you have in your track, instead of actually just creating it here. So that's really cool. You'll also see a whole bunch of different presets in here, and there's actually one preset in here that I'm going to use to start this off, which is perfect for this type of melody. So let's go over here to halftime, and in here I believe it's called halftime reverse or something like that. Yeah, half and reverse. So let's go ahead, double click this. You can favorite the ones you like. I should have had this one favorited because I have been using it quite a bit, and then they'll pop up. You can also create your own presets, and then they'll drop in the my preset thing. So that might be something that I have to do in the future. So it's only utilizing two shapers, time and filter. We're going to add a little bit more in a second, but let me show you what this does just by itself. I already hear the drums going crazy on it. All right, so as mentioned, I'm going to show you how to utilize the new sidechain function. Once you link it in, it'll automatically link to the rest of the shapers. So let's just get a quick kick pattern going like that. We need to throw this into another mixer. We'll go ahead and throw it on mixer 2, and then the original melodies right here. So the first thing you need to do is click where the kick is at, which is going to be insert 2 for me. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to right click and sidechain to this track. Over here on volume, we'll hit this sidechain one. So let's go ahead, hit audio, and then there's this little button right here, external sidechain input. Let's click that. There's a few steps to this, but once you have it, it's pretty easy. Then we'll go over here, click right here, and then we need to go to processing, and then sidechain right here, we'll put it on 1. And once we go back, now you'll see that the kick is actually going to be affecting this. Right, you could see the pattern right there. That's actually like the kick waveform. So you can use this setup for any of the 9 shapers, and then you can have an external input actually be controlling the LFO, which is actually pretty cool. Let's add some more movement to this. I'm going to use the sidechain right here, and I'm going to bring this over to here, bring this up a little bit. Then let's go over here to pan. I've done this in a lot of videos. I really like doing this. Let's bring the mix down. And let's add a tiny bit of drive, just a little bit though. And you're just using this LFO. And let's bring this down just a little bit. Let's move on to the drums. So let's run a 2-step on this hi-hat real quick and just get a nice bounce going and put the snare on the 3. That's fire. I found this pretty cool violin on Splice. It's just like one little note that's played out, but it's going to sound pretty good with this. So let me go ahead and show you. We'll turn it down just a little bit. This is what it sounds like. Just needs a little bit of reverb. Could throw it right here, make unique, and bring it down a whole octave. Watch when I add this 808. Hold on. I'm gonna just play a couple notes. Yeah, that's nasty. Already hear Future going crazy on this. The first pattern doesn't have like a lot of space for the reverse 808s, but the second pattern does right over here. So we can add one in right here. And another one right here. So if you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you watching. Like I said, I wanted to cook up like a simple but really hard beat for Lil Baby and Future, something they could just go crazy on, you play in the studio, and just the 808s alone would just be like, okay, yeah, let's go. But yeah, with that said, let's hear the full beat.